Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the Beyond the Book Media, the business of books. Here on this live broadcast, we get to talk to indie authors and engage conversation with them to find out what it was like to go through the process of writing and publishing and to talk about the manuscript that they have birthed out. Here you would discover new indie authors and gain insight on their writing and publishing journeys, as well as if you are a emerging author and interested in publishing a book or just desire to support, please like and share right now. So we just want to say welcome. I have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Jennifer Black tonight. We're going to have an engaging conversation regarding her workbook, The Passing On. It's a workbook guide and it is sure to bless your soul. So we're just engaging and saying hello. What I request is that everybody that's joining us, we thank you for joining us first off. But if you would, please go to StreamYard.com and allow StreamYard access to your comments so that we can see them on this side, because we want to engage with you as much as you would like to engage with us.
Yes.
So again, we say welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Crystal Davis. I am the host tonight. I am a part of the Beyond the Book Media team. I am one of the coaches and moderators there. And on Tuesdays, I am here engaging and conversing with our authors. And I really, really am excited about tonight's guest, Miss Jennifer Black. We're going to give people a few more minutes before we jump in, but we are elated that you all have decided to join us right now. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, I'm sharing it right now, everybody.
Yes.
I was able to share it to my page, so go ahead and do that as well, everybody, because that is an option.
Follow the author. Go ahead and share, 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 share.
Okay, yep, there we go.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody who's joining us, who may be jumping over from our club over on Clubhouse, where you are our Clubhouse cousins. Come on over, Facebook family. Come on over here and join in the conversation.
Absolutely.
With Miss Jennifer Black.
Okay.
I'm going to follow the lead of Miss Jennifer Black, and I am going to share as well.
Yes. That is
because that's what we do. That is what we do. Let's see.
Yes. Oh, feedback. I just turn mine down.
That is what. That's me. Me do.
Yes. Oh, feedback. I just turn mine down.
That's me. Turn it down right now. There we go. But we're on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited that you all are joining us tonight. We have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Jennifer Black, who has a wonderful workbook guide called the Passing On Workbook Guide. And she's going to give us some information about it. We're going to delve into it momentarily. We just want to say welcome and thank you for your time. And thank you for coming over to engage and listen and learn. For those of you that are emerging authors, we are thankful that you took the time out your busy schedule to sit down and listen to us for about an hour. We're just going to engage in what I call sister talk tonight about her book and her journey here. Again, welcome. And you are on the Beyond the Book Media's Facebook page. And here we have a live show called Beyond the Books Media Business of Books. And here you discover new indie authors and gain insight on their writing and publishing journeys. If you love discovering emerging authors, are interested in publishing a book or writing a book, or just desire to support, please like and share right now.
Yes.
Welcome, 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 welcome to you all. By all means, we would like to see your comments on this end. So if you would, please go to StreamYard.com and allow StreamYard access to your Facebook comments so that Miss Jennifer and I can see them on this side. And when you have questions that you would like to ask, they can be answered. Otherwise, we cannot see what you post on Facebook. Will be thank you anyway. So welcome, Jennifer. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you. And let me say thank you for joining us in Clubhouse. Our Clubhouse cousins were over there engaging and listening. And we are so excited that you took the time to do that as well. And that you decided to come over here and join our Facebook family and share about your beautiful, beautiful workbook guide, the Passing On Workbook Guide. And so I'm going to open the floor and let you share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I am Jennifer Black. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so happy to be here and have our little sister circle talk. I am the author of Let me start with this. I am the author of the Passing On Workbook Guide, and I am the founder of First Bereavement Concierge Services, where we help families after the aftermath of loss. We help them with their arrangements and their affairs, because once someone passes away, there is a lot that goes into it, and you are grieving. You are not thinking clearly. And so we're your advocate. We help you with everything. We hold your hand from going to the funeral home, the cemetery, getting together your documentation, helping with the funeral, with the repast, and then afterwards, because that's when it really gets real, when everybody goes back home. Nobody's bringing fried chicken and sandwiches over anymore, right? So you need someone to hold your hand. You have to take that loved one off of certain documents. You have to go through their stuff. So we're there with you through that whole time. So I do that. And I'm also a certified grief coach as well. And I focus more so on business and career-driven women who have lost their passion as a result and heaviness of that grief. So I help them walk them through getting that back and accomplishing the things that they put on hold as a result of that grief. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm from New Jersey, born and raised, still live there. I am married and I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. I love it. Helping women that are in the marketplace and entrepreneurs that suffer those moments of grief and don't know how to rebound from it. That is a beautiful calling to have, and to have somebody, as you said, after all the cards and the flowers and the stop bys, when the initial onset of the loss. People come in droves, and then you find that it kind of like dwindles away. And that is when they need you the most. And to have someone such as yourself, who's certified in grief coaching, still say, here, I'm still holding your hand, is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it is a beautiful calling, I would say. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so tell us about the book, The Passing On Workbook Guide. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this was written as a result of my own grief, of my own family going through different things after death. So I have a big family. My father has 11 brothers and sisters. My mother has 7. And so we're really close, and I'm close with my family on my dad's side especially. And a few of our family members passed away unexpectedly. And we were like, what's going on? And so my aunts, they would call me just to help out because, we're close. And at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. Looking back, I'm like, oh, because it just flowed. But I was just doing whatever I could do to assist. Did things fall through the crack? Absolutely. Did we get taken advantage of? Yes. By funeral homes? Absolutely. Because you're trying to grieve, handle affairs. What are you wearing? It's so much you're thinking about. And you're trying to grieve. So you are making crazy decisions. You're saying yes when you should be saying no, and vice versa. You're just like, whatever, because it's too much. And so after dealing with that, and after helping my family with that multiple times, God laid it on me and said, you're going to be the one to help these families. You're going to be the one to be their advocate and hold their hand and make sure that they are okay and they're able to grieve properly. So you're going to handle their affairs so they're able to grieve properly. And so that's how the book came in. So that's what First 24 does, the bereavement concierge portion of it. We help you. And that's why it's called First 24, because we're there within the first 24 hours of the person passing away. And so we just come in with your consent, and we make sure that everything is, I'm your advocate. I mean, I've got lashed out, cursed at, everything. And that was fine because I was your advocate. So, I was the in-between, and whatever that person said, whoever was in charge of everything and investing in everything, I listened to them. And so I made sure that they were okay and everything went as they wanted it to go, not as anybody else. It was what they wanted. I was bringing those wishes to light and helping them with that. And so that is what that is what we do. So that is now in the book form. And that's where the Passing On Workbook Guide comes, because some people, they may not be able to invest, or they just are like, I can handle it on my own. And God was telling me that you need something for when you're not there. And you need people to be able to go through something, have something to help them, so they're not blindly just going after this and going after that and not knowing what to do and making mistakes as a result of that. So you need something that's going to assist them when you're not there. And so that's how the workbook came along.
Wow, a beautiful call. And to hear the voice of the Lord said, you need to create something for when you can't be there, understanding that you're going to have calls after calls, and sometimes you can't be physically present. But that is the beauty of a book. It can go so many different places, even when you cannot. And God starts with our family first, and then he branches us out once we master the family part. That I love him so much because he's just so great. But he said, I know that you can't reach these people, but you can put it in book format, and I'm gonna give you this great opportunity to work with Beyond the Book Media and them to help you get this out, because I want this to go beyond just your family. You have a gifting, and that is such a call. And I'm gonna pause right here for all of our viewers. Welcome again. If I have not said welcome, I am your coach, Crystal Davis, and we have with us Miss Jennifer Black, and tonight she's sharing with us the Passing On Workbook Guide, about how she wrote her book, what the passion is behind it, how it came to fruition, and even the publishing journey. She'll give us some tidbits about that. If you are watching, we would like for you to go to StreamYard.com, and please allow StreamYard access to your Facebook comments. That way she and I can see them on our screen, because we are streaming from StreamYard and we can't see what's directly posted on Facebook. But please do join in the conversation. Please feel free to post a comment and ask any questions as we go through tonight's interview with Miss Jennifer Black. So back to you, Miss Jennifer. What inspired you to write your book? And you gave us a little bit about your family going through some things, but is there anything in addition to what God said in your own family passings and transitionings that help you? What else inspired you to write your book?
Well, the gift that God has given me, and so it is it's very rewarding, but it's very heavy. And so it was motivation to write it too, because I'm saying to myself, once God told me that, I'm like, people need this. So I can't really I can't sit on this, because I've heard people say so many times, oh, I want to write a book, I just don't know where to start. Oh, I want to write a book and I've got so much in me, but they don't make any movements with those, right? So this wasn't like, let me just do whatever. I don't know. Let me just write a book just for fun. It wasn't like that. It was an assignment. Although I love doing it, it's an assignment, and this needs to get out. God told me to do it, and so I can't sit on this. And so that was also motivation, just knowing that there are people out there that need this, and because they can't get to me. Everybody can't get to me necessarily, right? And so that was motivation for me too, just the fact that I knew that people are in need of this and waiting for this. Nothing of my own. I'm not boasting like, because this is a straight God download, but this is what he told me to do, and I knew people were waiting for it. So that was also motivation.
And the way our God is set up and the way he loves us is that, how not even ironic should not be the term that I use, but for lack of a better term, in the midst of COVID, when so many people have lost their family members and friends, not necessarily always to COVID, but there's been so much loss in and around our communities, in and around the world. What better time was it to write this book, to share how to grieve? And I have not seen the book, but I would just venture out to say how, like a 12-step process into the grieving process of how to get through it, even after the service and after everything really comes down, because me having dealt with grief in different forms, I find that the heaven is really doesn't come until after everything is done,
Mhm.
after the funeral, when you're sitting home and you hear that song, or when you go past something and you smell that scent or something like that. Have you found that to be the part of a grieving process for people more so, the initial shock, yes, but then they kind of like get in the mode, as you said, trying to handle everything, and they kind of forget about themselves. But in that moment when they're still, that is when they come back
Mhm.
and they say, that's when they have what I call the breakdown moment. Do you
Mhm.
find that to be the truth? And that is how your book can really help them to navigate through that time.
That is so true. The aftermath of it is so heavy because I know people, and even myself, I can use myself too, where I'm working a funeral and people will think that I'm used to them because this is my industry, but I'll get home and I will sob. I mean, sobbing, right? Because I have to hold it in because
Right.
it's on me. It's so heavy, right? So for families though, and my clients, yes, the after that week after by yourself, like nobody's there. You're like, where's everybody? Because you get so used to everybody being there and people there. And even if you don't necessarily want them there, you want them there, right? Because
Right.
the noise, just hearing them. But then when you get that eerie silence and nobody's there, that's when it gets really heavy. And it could be with silence. It could be them just washing the dishes. And like you said, hear a song, something that triggers them.
Mhm.
It could just be anything. And so the aftermath is the heaviest. Now, with this passing on workbook guide, this is more so during the process to help you with the
Okay.
arrangement. So I would say this is probably for what I call home team. So anybody that is,
Okay.
uh, I usually say like 3 to 5 people that have tough skin, aren't afraid to say no because they're acting as your, okay, family, you have to leave at 6. I'm sorry. Okay, I need to go to this funeral home and help with this. Like they are
Right.
the ones who are going to do the, I don't know, called the dirty work, but the work that nobody really wants to do. But they're not moved and they're not, I mean, they're grieving too, but they're going to make sure things get done for you. So let's use somebody who lost their husband. Okay, let's use,
That's me for the
so you
family.
want a team who's able to report back, do what you asked them to do
Mhm.
sufficiently, and as you said, come back, report back, and just get it done. And so it's important to have those people because they're getting things done. Now, that's what I do. That's what First 24 does. But
Okay.
again,
Okay.
if you feel like you can do that, you have a strong team. Go with that strong team. Give them a copy of the book and let them go. Let them go.
Got you. So
Because you're gonna need that support because as you said afterwards, it's really tough.
right. Okay. And you know that, forgive me because I thought it was for afterwards to help them continue on with the grieving process. But understand that it is during the process where they can get everything done. These are the steps that you need to take. These are the things that you need to ensure are done, so that you can grieve peacefully if there's such a thing, is what I like to say, because that's what I call it. But, just so you'll know the steps to do and what you should be asking for, what you should be looking for, those kind of things. And like you said, need a strong person within the family, which is usually 1 or 2 people. That's always going to be the ones as yourself, to help everybody navigate that process of preparing the funeral and getting the service and things together, which I find that a lot of people don't do prior to,
Mm-hmm.
so that leaves a lot of burden on those left behind to try to figure out what it is you would have wanted. And so you're giving them an outlet, so to speak, on this is how you stay focused on the end goal, which is getting to the funeral, getting everybody in the rightful places and not missing anybody, so not to cause confusion. You know how that goes and all of those things. So that is
Yeah.
beautiful. So you answered my next question, who your book was for. And I read something that you said. You said the book is really for everybody because we'll all need it one day. And
Mhm.
that is something that is truly guaranteed. That is,
Absolutely,
that is
absolutely.
guaranteed.
I didn't want, and even when I say that, I'm not just saying that. Like that's a real thing. We're going to, if we haven't already experienced losing someone physically, and I still use the book when I have a death in the family and when I'm with my clients because I'm not always in the right frame of mind too because I'm still grieving, right? I mean,
Right.
grieving things from years ago. So when I look at the book, it jolts my memory too. And that's what I wanted for people because, you're not thinking about those stuff. You're not thinking about those legal documents. You're not thinking about those things you need to get together. I have a funeral, a sample of a funeral service. And I did that because people always think it needs to be this long, elaborate, service, but it doesn't. It could be short and sweet. It could be just exactly how you want it. I feel like it reflect the person who passed away. That's what funeral should do. But all this other stuff, you don't really need it. If you want it, fine. But I wanted to make sure that I just had, a service sample in there to show them that. And so it really is for everyone, because you're going to need it. Like I said, I still use it. And I think it's good also to have the conversation with your family. It's a good leeway, because people look at death as doom and gloom. And I want to change that, because I want you to think about it like you're helping your family so they're able to grieve properly. That stress of whether it's financial, right? So the stress of having your affairs and not having your affairs in order and not knowing where anything is another layer of pressure and just unnecessary stress for your family. So why not have the conversation? Who's going to be doing what? Do you have a will? Let's talk about it. Write it in an email. If you don't want to do just something, because people are guessing a lot. Like, I think, does she like the Clark sisters? Does she want to wear a robe? Like, I don't know. And that's like such a bad feeling when you know their wishes.
So. And what I gather just from listening to you is that it helps alleviate all of the chaos and confusion, because you're going to have somebody say, she didn't like that, or he didn't like that. And this was their favorite color. And you're going to be saying, no, they told me this. Yes. And if we just get it together beforehand, we can kind of shortcut and cut out all of the animosity and hostility that comes with it. Because if we're really looking at it biblically, this is supposed to be a time of celebration. We're supposed to cry when they come in the world and celebrate when they're leaving out of the world. And we've gotten that twisted. But again, if we have things in order, it keeps down confusion. And if you vocalize what you want, and like you said, just put it in an email. Ironically, a girlfriend and I was speaking about this the other day, because she's so like, if this is what happened, I need this is what I have, and this is what I have. And I was like, oh, okay. But we were discussing the fact that so many people are afraid to put it in writing because they feel like they're calling it forth. And I'm like, but that's a guarantee. We all gonna do it, so you might as well write it
on
down.
All ages. Listen, they dying from all ages, not just old people. Okay.
Right. And so that's the beauty of it. Just write it down so that people will know who was your favorite singer. Because when we all together, we listen to everything. But who did you want to sing? What was your song that you loved, your church song or whatever song it is? But that way we keep everything in perspective, and everybody gets the opportunity to breathe and grieve at the same time, and it be okay. And then at the end of the day, we're still family, and we're still working and loving on one another rather than bickering and fighting.
Yes.
And I see that we have more people that have joined us. We want to say hello. I am Coach Crystal Davis, and this young lady with me tonight is Miss Jennifer Black, and we are discussing her book, The Passing On Workbook Guide. And she has been giving us a little bit of tidbit about herself and her writing. And so if you are joining us and have a comment, please go to StreamYard.com and allow StreamYard access to your Facebook comments so that we can see them on this end. We would love to engage with you and just share with you and share with Miss Jennifer your comments and your questions as we get to that. And so what would you say are the top 3 takeaways you would like readers to walk away with that purchase this book?
I would say to set boundaries, because it's so ironic when that person will use that spouse, right? That person lost their spouse. There's so much pressure on her or him, because people are asking them different. People mean well, right? But they want things how they want it. I mean, family members you haven't seen in 5 years have so much to say. So, they're getting a lot of pressure from family members, like, no, we want it this way, knowing in their mind, they know what their spouse wanted. But because if their family members are in their ear, minute after minute, they're at the house every day. It's like, wait, should I not do it? Like, they don't know how to say no, which is why the home team is very important. No, we're going to do this how she wants it. Okay. So set boundaries. No is a full and complete sentence. All right. So utilize that. I will also say,
I love it.
To have the conversation, as I was mentioning before, have the conversation. Like, it's very good it's good to get the book when something happens, but I would rather you get it beforehand, because you can take time to look through it. It's not a thick book. I don't like to be overwhelmed. I wanted something small so ladies can put it in their purse, or guys, you could just put it in your back pocket. And it has notes for you I was jotting stuff down on napkins and paper towels, because I just didn't have like little hundreds of stickies, but I put a note section in there too. So you could just write down, all right, this funeral home, we're checking this one, and just write down different notes. So have the conversation, having the book opens up the conversation before something happens, right? Again, you can get it afterwards, but it's just like, you want to read this for a little bit, that'll help with the presentation instead of, them thinking, oh, what you trying to say? I'm dying. I joke with my husband. Like I say to my husband, it's not even a joke. Like we'll be in the car and I'll just be like, so if, when something happens, when you're not here or whatever, he's like, how you know I'm going first? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So you just never know. I'm always talking about it because I'm in the industry, but so have the conversation with your loved ones. Who's going to be handling what, with that. I would say also the third thing would be to prepare. So with every death, I learn something new. Believe it or not, I do. I get something new like, oh, okay, I need to do that. I need to make sure I do that. I did not know probably until about 2 years ago that I have to add my husband as my beneficiary in order for him to get any of my money out of my bank account. I'm thinking, oh, I'm his wife. I'm going to get it right away. Nope. You have to be listed as the beneficiary and he has to be listed as my beneficiary. So, I just learned things. And so as people pass away, I'm learning things. So prepare, get your affairs in order. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed because I know people are like, well, I don't know. You can first start with just seeing what you have. Do you have life insurance? Do you have it outside of work? Did you write the email? What do you want? Sit down and think about what you want. I don't think people do that. Like when I first did that, I was like, oh, but my husband knows to go to my sister and my two best friends as to what I'm wearing, how I should look, all of that. I told him that. I know he wants to get buried in an Eagles jersey and he doesn't want to have a service at a church. So you have to really talk and communicate with your family because I've been to funerals where it does not reflect the person. I'm like, well, who is that? Yes. Because the person that's paying, right? They get to say as to how the funeral is going to go. So I believe that the funeral should reflect the person. And so you want to have, yes, you should have that conversation with those family members who are going to be handling your affairs. Tell them where it's at. Is it in a safe on the 3rd floor or is it in storage? Did you put it on a PDF? So you're not just running around making rash decisions once something happens.
Right. Makes sense to me. And so I'm going to just go back and say, so the top three takeaways from reading this book that Miss Jennifer has written is be vocal about your last wishes. Mm-hmm. Let people know, tell your family members, tell your wife, if you're married, whatever you tell your spouse, be sure to share that with your family members because it causes confusion in the end.
That is very good. Yes.
Let's be very clear. Please share with your family members what you told your spouse. I won't even say that again for the people in the back. Okay. Know your limit when it comes to handling arrangement and affairs. If you are the one that does everybody's service and you're always the forefront person, maybe you should step back on this one and allow yourself to grieve and allow somebody else to take the reins. You don't always have to be Superwoman or Superman and act like it doesn't bother you. You're the strong one. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, this one is bothering me. I'm taking this one a little harder than the last. Oh, is it okay if I step back or not? Is it okay? Hey, I'm stepping back. Which one are you stepping up? Let me correct myself. All right. And then get your affairs in order. Get your affairs in order is what Miss Black's workbook guide will teach you, is to get things in order beforehand so that there is no confusion after. You make sure that your spouse knows, your mother, your sister, whoever your best friend is. Hey, I put these items here. I have them in a safe deposit box. My last will and testament is here. My whatever is, all of this is there. I have insurance. I don't have insurance. Get insurance because GoFundMe is not for all of us to be funding your funerals because you can fund them yourself. And so, come on, Miss Black. So if you get it in order beforehand, we don't have to go fund anybody, right? So, because we got our own families. But sometimes it's necessary, but don't depend on that when you can pay a little bit of something to maintain your own funeral and all of that thing, and not to add that extra stressor to people. Yes. Okay. And so I like those 3 pointers that, get it in order, have the conversation. Do not be afraid to talk about your wishes. Like Miss Black said, her husband had said, hey, I don't want to be in the church. If that's your thing, tell people, hey, I want to be cremated. Make that known so that if you've told that to your spouse or your significant other and they decide cremation, your family's not mad because they want you to be at the family cemetery next to your uncle, and then they're mad at your spouse or your significant other because they feel like they made or your children, and they feel like they made a choice that they didn't want to make, and not knowing full well that that was your desire, that was your wish. So let's make it plain. Let's have the conversation. Let's get the workbook beforehand. Let's work through the workbook together prior to a situation, so that when the situation arises, because we all will cross that journey one day, when it does, people are not at each other's throat, and they're actually able to come together, console one another, and grieve together, and the process take care of itself, and they're able to relinquish some of that to someone such as Miss Black or the funeral home or whomever, and they can step back and know that everything is okay. So now is the time. I have a few more questions for Miss Black, but now is the time that you get to drop your comments in the chat so that we can know what your thoughts are on what's been shared thus far. Do you have any specific questions in regards to Miss Black and her workbook before we talk about her process of writing and publishing? And then we ask a few more questions about her book and where you can find it and all of those things. So if you have some comments that you would like to share, please go to StreamYard.com and allow StreamYard to access your Facebook account so that we can see your comments on this end, because we want to engage you, and we are so thankful that you have taken the time to stay with us. So my next question is, what was the process like writing your book? Did you join a Beyond the Book Media writing challenge, or how did you start, and when did you write your book, or were you a part of the process? Give us a little bit of background on that.
The process. So I did a coaching session with Chanel. She was pregnant with Cooper at this time. I'm like, how are you doing this? But we spoke, and this was actually challenging for me because I have another book. I have a devotional, but this one came second. But this one was more challenging because I actually had to write down what I do. Like, because when I'm working and I'm in the mode and I'm working for my client, I'm just going. So I had to sit down and write out what I actually do. And when I would give it to Beyond the Book, and like Chanel, she's like, no, you have to like come back. Like, I was so challenged because this wasn't my first time writing a book, but a workbook. So it was different. It was totally different. Yeah. And so I didn't just flow through it, because I'm like, all right, what do I do step by step? I wanted to make sure that this book emulated me and really was helpful to my readers.
Right.
And so she really helped me, like, just getting it together. Like, she's like, nope, come back. Nope. Which I appreciated. But it taught me, like, I had to really sit down and think about what I do verbatim so that it's reflective to my readers, so they get it. Because I know what I want. I know what I do. Right. But a reader is going to be like, what? I don't understand. So that was a challenging part, but it was really rewarding once it came out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good, because I never like feeling overwhelmed when I'm reading, especially when it deals with something so sensitive as death. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't overwhelm my readers. I wanted to make sure it was a very helpful guide, something they could just jot something down, get some information, go look to it, reference it, take it everywhere during the process of getting their affairs in order. So, but it turned out really, really, really well. I was very, very pleased. And
wow. That's beautiful. That's the thing. You being in the field that you're in the industry that you're in, you do it. It's just firsthand knowledge. You just do what you do. And sometimes it's hard to put into words because it's something that you just do it naturally. It's innate. It's who you are now. But having to sit down with yourself, and did you have that aha moment? It's like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize I did this much in the writing process, because it's second nature to you, because it's what you do. And so then having to sit down and say, whoa, I really do all of this. And what I love about what you said is you was writing the guide to emulate you. So again, goes back to what you stated in the beginning, is that God gave you this because he wanted you to be present with other people when you couldn't be present. And so you had to sit down with yourself and say, if I was myself in a book form, standing in your presence or sitting on your table, this is what I would do. And people could sense and feel that you are present with them, even in book form. Is that what you gather. That's what I took from that.
Absolutely. That's really good, because also when I was writing it, I'm like, I thought about my family the whole time.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking to myself, I want my readers they're my family. Like, I want them to feel like I am there. Cause I go really hard for my families. Okay. So I wanted them to feel my presence. I wanted them to feel the empathy through the book. Like, it's one thing for me to be with you. You're definitely going to feel it. You're definitely going to feel the comfort, the peace that God gives me to help other people. Right. But when you're reading a book, I'm not there, but I want you to feel like, oh yeah, like she's right with me. Like she, so, and I always encourage people, just email me. You can always email me a question if you have a question about the book, because I want them to be okay. Like, I want them to be able to get through this process without me being there, especially with me not being there. It's better if I am, but if I'm not, then I want the book to be self-explanatory, where they can just, all right, yes, I got this done for today. I'm okay. Let me try something again tomorrow. Let me work on another checklist tomorrow.
Let me bookmark here and start pick back up tomorrow. And it's funny that in your as you were talking, you said that you want them to feel like you're right with me. And I thought about Beyond the Book Media and Right With Me, and how ironic that is. And I know you didn't hear me chuckle when you said you wanted them to feel like you were right with them. Mm-hmm. And I thought about right with me, because that's ironic that God would bring you to a place under the auspice of the Beyond the Book Media and the Right With Me Challenge, and Chanel and all the things that she does, as I call a superwoman, and all that she does as this gifted visionary and woman of God. But that just connected for me, and that was brilliant. There's nothing but God.
Yes.
And so, hey, everybody, thank you for staying with us, for joining us in this conversation as we speak with Miss Jennifer Black, and she shares with us on her workbook, the Passing On Workbook Guide, and she gives us tidbits about it. Jennifer, if you could tell me now, where can people find your book and support you?
They can find it on my website, www.first24lost.com. That's you'll be able to see it on my page. I don't know if we could put it in the art stream, but
I'm going to put it in there right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I sent it to you, right?
Yes.
Okay. You could just do www.first24lost.com. Yeah. Okay. So you can do it that way. If you're on Instagram, of course, you can hit the link in my bio, and everything is there as well. But the link will be here on here for you all as well. And you can follow our page too on Facebook as well, because all the information is on there.
And so your Facebook handle and all your social media handles, can you give that to us as well?
Yes, that's First 24 Bereavement.
First 24 Bereavement. I'm going to put that in there for our listeners. Social media handles. First with the number 1.
Yep, 1 ST and the number 24 Bereavement.
Bereavement. Yes. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And are you offering anything to those that come and or purchase your book? Is there anything in particular that you are sharing or giving away at this time?
I have the book, and if you go in on my site too, if you want to have a consultation, it's free consultation for a one-on-one. For my VIP grief coaching one-on-one. And I do that because I don't just let people sign up because I want to talk to you. I want to see where you're at. And I tell people, I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychologist. I am a certified grief coach. And so with therapy and grief coaching, therapy is more so deals with the past and things that you're dealing with that you need to, that you're still working through. And coaching is moving forward and showing you how to do that. It's not to negate your grief. It's not to say you're not grieving. That is a lifelong journey, right? But it's to say, I'm ready to move forward in my dreams, my goals, my business, whatever that is. I'm ready to move forward in that and learn my new normal in regards to that, and just go forward, but just don't know how. So that's what I do.
Oh, that is beautiful. And let me tell you, it takes a special person to be able to do that. And that is a special gifting. I've help people, if you will, for lack of a better word, help people through the transition process, such as my sister who died, and I was the one who gave her the morphine and helped her through that process. I've watched my grandmother transition, and I'm often asked by family, like, how do you do that? And I don't know, but it's just, I just do it. And, I have my moments afterward, but at that moment, it has to be done. I want it to be peaceful. I want them to just rest and transition smoothly. And where others are like, I can't be here, and they're crying and screaming, I'm more like holding hands and holding bodies. And that's just how I do it. And then I find myself consoling others sometimes at my own mental breakdown later. But the gifting of what you do, and let me say thank you from many families to you and yours, because I know that doing this, or I don't know, but I feel like doing this, you have to have a strong support system for what you do. So I salute those that support you in the process. But thank you to yourself and the funeral home and the mortuary that you work for and work with, and all of the families that you've helped through the grieving process, even before, during, and after. We say thank you, because I know that must take some kind of strength that not everybody embodies and not everybody wants. And so I'm assuming it could be really heavy on your spirit. So I continue to pray that God just strengthens you. Holy Spirit continues to gird you up and console you when you're at that point. And so I just really, really, really am appreciative for this workbook guide that I think everybody that's looking and listening should purchase, so that you can open up the conversation with family members. Go ahead and go to www.first24loss.com. I've put it in our chat. Go there and support this brilliant mind, this sister who has taken a download from God and has put in workbook form the process for going through the grieving process. And she wants you to get the workbook beforehand, so that you'll know what to do when the time comes, and that everything is already in order, so that when that time comes for whomever, whatever time, because we know not the day nor the hour, but that we are prepared beforehand. And so let me talk to you about the publishing journey with Beyond the Book Media. You told us that Chanel kept giving you those pointers like, that's not enough. You need some more. You got to pull some more. And she's good about that, but she does it with such love and with such intuitiveness, that that what she's saying is God is saying, hey, I have a little bit more, I need some more, people will need more. And because you want to be present in a book form, he had to pull even deeper. And so thank you for allowing him to do so. But let's talk about this publishing journey. How was that with this workbook? I know you've written before your devotional, but how was that with this workbook?
Yes, because when you were talking in regards to the heaviness, it is very heavy. And when I was writing this one, actually both of them, the enemy was definitely really trying to like mess with my mind. Like the grief at that point, it was so heavy. Like I would be crying. I mean, just hysterical because of the people's grief on me. Not even knowing these people, just different griefs. I'm thinking about moms and fathers. I'm just seeing and feeling all these people didn't sleep. I had to stop several times writing because of the enemy trying to use it against me. And so I'm like, Holy Spirit, I need you. You got to help me. But I knew what he was trying to do, because he did not want this workbook to get out. And so I was just praying to God, like, really help me to be able to compartmentalize this and not wear it so heavy where I can't do anything. Because what good am I to anybody if I'm just like sobbing and in a corner all day just crying over other people's grief, right? So that's why, I mean, he just really had me to go into intercession and just really, really, really learn to just pray over myself and what to pray and what to do when I'm feeling that heaviness, because he's still teaching me how to deal with it. I mean, I think about people's death that I don't even really talk to at all, but they just come in my spirit. I'm dreaming about them. I just think about them heavily. And so during that process, when I was, while writing, it was challenging, but I really, really, really had to pull to my source, which was God. Cause I'm like, there's no cleverness in me. I mean, I think that I'm, okay with doing certain things, but not for this. For this, I'm like, I need God because it was so heavy on me. So I just made sure that I just went to God in prayer when I would feel that heaviness coming. Cause I'm like, here it goes again. It caught me off guard a couple times, but then I was hit with this game. And so I just was, praying and asking God to give me that, because it will discourage you, whatever that is for you. It will discourage you, tell you to stop. Nobody's going to read that. Nobody's going to buy that. Why are you wasting your time? So many things will go in your head.
Yes.
If you allow it to, if you allow the enemy to get, and it's so easy. Once he does that one thought, it's like, especially for analytical thinkers, you get blocked and you're like, oh, what am I writing? Why am I writing this? And so I would just admonish you, for me, I just had to make sure that I just went to that secret place, right? Went to that place to just, God, just help me. Just put the pen down and just go into the room, come back, try it again.
Right. And so I know that on the back end in the publishing, you got to really connect with Jacinta and her team on the back end. How was that process for you? I know Jacinta is a gentle soul anyway.
So. Oh my God, an angel.
Right.
This is why
here on earth. Yes,
and I'm the type of person, I love, like Chanel, that is my style too. I love tough love. I'm like, I need, that kind of, and then you go Jacinta, she's just like, hey. She was very encouraging. Like, I could just be frustrated about anything. She's like, okay. And then I'll be like, can I just have a call? And she'll be like, yeah. And then as soon as I talk to her and see her, I'm just like, why am I upset? I don't even know why I'm frustrated. The delivery is amazing, okay? Jacinta is a winner. So yeah, she just let you know everything's gonna be okay. It was just a sense of calm. It was a sense of calm.
And you sound just like her. And she's not one that calls often. But when you see her number, you probably should answer. And that's where I am, because sometimes she'll call me and she say, hey, Crystal, was going to send you a message, but no, I felt like I needed to call you. And then we end up on the phone for an hour. But she has this gentle spirit.
Yes.
But I know she that is who she is, even in the publishing portion of the journey, where God has really given her the anointing to carry other people when they feel like they're down and out and, hey, I don't have that extra push. And she's not. Now, Chanel is, hey, it's like, well, let's see, what can we do? It's gonna be okay. So they balance each other well. But you need both of those in order to get through the process, because the enemy comes at you in different forms.
Yes.
And the Lord gives us just what we need in both Chanel, who says, hey, we're not going to coddle this thing. We're going to get through it in that writing portion of it. And then in the publishing part, Jacinta say, hey, you're almost there.
Right.
and Chanel is like, push. And Jacinta is saying, just breathe.
Right.
So I love it. I love the balance. Is that not an accurate depiction?
It's so accurate. It's so, because you need both. You need both. You really do. So I'm grateful for both of them. That's such a good, God brought that together perfectly. We balance each other.
We often describe ourselves in Beyond the Book Media in the writing challenges and in the boot camps and things as doulas and helping you birth out something. And Chanel is that, hey, Holy Spirit said, she gives you that thing and push. You got it. You got to breathe through it, take the pain. You got to push like you're really having a baby. And then Jacinta on their publishing side say, come on, it's okay. It's crowning. Just breathe.
Right.
And so you understand that they have that equal balance, but both of them encouraging in their own right. And that is what I really, really enjoy. Is there anything else you want to share? We want to open the floor for our guests to ask questions. If you have a question or two, just drop it in the chat so that we can see it. Both Ms. Black and myself, we have about 10 more minutes to engage, and we thank you all for staying with us this long. And so if you have questions for Ms. Black regarding her workbook, please drop any questions, really. Just drop them in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer them. If you have any comments regarding the conversation that we've had tonight, and anything that you enjoyed or questions that you may have, feel free to drop them in the chat. But you must go to StreamYard.com in order for us to see them on this end. But we really, really appreciate each and every one of you for sharing in this moment with us. It has been a good time in comfort. We just been having this good conversation just about life and getting our things in order, which I really, really, really appreciate. Don't forget that you can go to www.first24loss.com to order this guide, which I think we all should be getting as we get our houses in order, as we prepare for whatever the next is. We should always work to have things in order so that we lessen the stress of other people when it is our time, because we all will have a time. But again, let me put that in the chat again. I know Jacinta put it there, but I want to put it up here as well.
And Crystal, I would say for anybody that is in the process of or thinking about writing a book, if God laid it on you, do not sit on it. Do not sit on it. Contact Beyond the Book Media. See, they had this 21-day boot camp that is phenomenal. And so, I've heard so many people, like I said before, say, I want to write a book. I don't know where to start. This is where to start. They will push you. They will frame it, whatever. Just have the idea and they will walk you through it. I'm not just saying that because I never knew about something like this until I met Chanel. And I'm like, that is awesome. Because people usually, and I even did it. I'm like, oh, should I DIY this? Should I? And I'm like, I don't have the patience. Nope. And because they're so professional and they know what they're doing. First of all, God ordained, let's start with that. And they just know what they're doing. So just don't sit on it. Invest in yourself and do it, because people are waiting on what you have to write. It could be, don't diminish anything. People will read stuff about anything, making candles, makeup, interior design, whatever it is that you do, that God has gifted you to do, that has assigned you to do, write it in book form. Somebody wants to read it. Somebody wants to listen to it. Don't downplay it. Go for it. And that 21 boot camp.
Let me tell you, that is awesome. We thank you for that testimonial. Let me say to all that are watching and listening, even the replay, you can put hashtag replay in the bottom. Beyond the Book Media is a company that really goes beyond the book, and they really, really cultivate what God has, what Holy Spirit has given you. And we, sometimes have large groups, but it is so, it feels like that it's just one-on-one, no matter how many people are in the group, I would say. And Ms. Black, you can tell me if that wasn't your truth, but it has felt like, you just have your one-on-one coach, and they really, 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 really care what God really gave to Chanel as it relates to this Beyond the Book Media publishing company and the Write With Me challenge and all of those things. She does not take lightly, and us that are her team members, she does not allow. She operates in excellence, and she expects the same from us. And we try to do our best to help you navigate the waters and pray through the troubled times and get to the finish line, which is always the goal. And so we are really excited, and thank you, Jennifer, for sharing your testimony of how the 21-day boot camp really helped you push through, and how the publishing journey with Miss Jacinta and her fabulous team was really a blessing to you. And again, I open the floor to anyone that may have a question, a comment. And we thank you so much for your time. We have about 5 more minutes. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Jennifer, I would just yield the floor to you before we close out.
Thank you again for this opportunity. It was wonderful. I had such a good time. Does not even feel like Clubhouse was wonderful. This was wonderful. Doesn't even feel like, when you love what you do and you you're walking in the will and in the will of God and doing what's pleasing to Him. It's so effortless. It's so effortless. It's not to say things won't come, but it is what God has ordained you to do, and you just love doing it, and it's effortless. So I just want to leave people with an encouraging words for anyone who is dealing with grief in any kind of way, because we deal with grief. There's physical loss of someone, but we also deal with grief in loss of relationships, divorce, miscarriage, loss of a business. There's so many other things that we grieve on top of physical loss that we treat like, oh, well, I didn't know. No, we're grieving, right? We still have to feel it the same way, not the same way, but we're still going through those stages, the depression, the anger, the hatred, the acceptance. We're still going through all of that, different emotions and stages and unpredictable days. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel today. I could be happy today, depressed tomorrow, angry on Friday. I don't know, right? It's an emotional roller coaster, and you just have to I will say, be patient with yourself. Okay. You're trying to live a new normal without that person. So nobody knows what that looks like. You don't even know what that looks like. So don't allow anybody to tell you how long you can grieve, because there's no time frame on grief. It's a lifelong journey. So be patient with yourself each day. Don't try to say like, I'm not grieving enough or I'm grieving too much. Just allow yourself to feel what you feel. And go through the stages and allow yourself to do that, because if you don't, then it's going to bubble up and it's going to come out. You don't know how or where or who in front of who it's going to come out. Right? So try to practice that patience. Practice just letting yourself be you and administer self-care. Definitely.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love it, because, so many people get caught up in, and I've actually heard people say, and I cringe when they say, you should be over it by now. It's been 6 months. They've been gone. Just pack up and move on. And I just cringe every time. Or even if it's a sibling or a family member, and they've just moved on with life, and you're still in that pocket because that was your mother, your sister, your friend, your confidant, and they're like, hey, everybody got to die someday. Just get on over.
So insensitive.
My whole inside just flips, and I'm not even in your industry, but my whole inside as a human being says,
right,
really?
Right.
And and I would say that just what you said, just take a little grace. It's okay. It's okay to cry, and do it without apology. You don't have to apologize for your grieving process.
Right. It's mine.
That person may be different, and so they can move on a little faster. But what you had is different, and so you don't want to move on because maybe you're stuck. But allow yourself time to become unstuck. Right. And you hit that nail on the head. Do it unapologetically and just grieve in your own time. And another key thing you said that many of us miss in life and keeps us bound, and I'll let you close and tell me if you think this is true. We don't understand that grieving is not just death and the loss of a person. It's a relationship. It's a job. It's a house that you've been in for 20 years after a divorce or after whatever. The loss of a child through miscarriage, different things. So it's just not, most people hear grief and they immediately think somebody died. But we grieve in so many different ways. We can still be in a relationship and it be dead and be grieving. But I'll let you go there because that's not my field. That's your thing. But giving people that understanding who don't know why I feel this way and why I feel a little, my grandson's word is wonky. Why I feel a little wonky is because you're grieving, but they don't attribute it to grieving because they haven't been taught that that's grieving as well. They just think grieving is death. So what would you say to that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and I think that people diminish that, and some people don't realize that they're grieving a relationship, or they don't realize they're grieving church hurt, right? If you left a church, right. They don't realize, they feel like it has to physically be someone no longer here, but that is not the case. And you should not treat it. Everybody's grief is different, right? And I don't believe anybody's grief is more strenuous or harsh, or your grief is your grief. I mean, whatever that is for you, whether that's I don't say because your dog died, that's nothing, because whatever that dog meant to that person, that's right. It. I don't try to diminish that, and people have different opinions about that, and I respect that. But what I'm saying is that we need to still treat it like we have lost something, because we have, and it hurts. And sometimes it manifests when we get into another relationship, into another business. We go to another church, whatever that is, or even when you have other kids and you still have a miscarriage, that doesn't negate that baby's life, right? You don't, right. It's not like now I can replace this one with that one. No,
right.
You're still dealing with that loss. And so I think we put that on the back burner because someone is, it may not, miscarriage is different, of course, because someone is no longer here, but I'm talking about more so relationship and things like that, where, or loss of identity. There's so many different things that we can grieve. So I would just admonish you to take it seriously, and not that we don't take it seriously. Let me take that back. But it's like, we don't feel it's, as important to deal with that and to grieve those things, because it's like, well, that's silly. That person's still here. It's not like somebody died. People actually think that way, but no, something in you died. Something, that person or whatever may still be here physically, right? Or like I said, if it's loss of a business or whatever the case may be, but something in you died when that ended. Right. And so you have to deal with it. You do, because that can also manifest in different ways and not in good ways.
Wow. Well, let me tell you something, Ms. Jennifer Black. It has been my pleasure to engage your mind and to get an understanding of this beautiful, beautiful workbook, the Passing On Workbook Guide. As Jacinta has here, Guide After Losing a Loved One. And it is for those who are just want to get things in order prior to, those in the midst of it, and those that just want to pass it on afterwards, just to have people see these are the steps that you can take moving forward, because this is something that we all will have to deal with in life. And this is something that if we transition, someone will have to deal with on our end. So let's leave them empowered and equipped with what they need in order to make wise decisions and not knee-jerk decisions because they're hurting and somebody takes advantage of them. Let's go ahead and get Miss Jennifer Black's book. I'm going to say it again because I know that I'm going to order this book, because I was just talking to my husband about this, but it's called The Passing On Workbook Guide, a step-by-step guide after losing a loved one. But we want to do it before anybody transitions, and we want to make it a conversation. Her top 3 takeaways are: be vocal about your last wishes, know your limit when it comes to handling arrangement and affairs. It's okay to say I'm overwhelmed. Can somebody else take the wheel? Be it Jesus or whomever else, but let somebody else take the wheel. And then get your affairs in order right now, so that when that time comes, whether you're 9 or 99, that what you need is already in place, and it lessens the stress on family, loved ones, relationships, and those that have to live after you have gone to glory. And so the book is for everybody, because we all will need it one day. Please share with your friends on Facebook. Please go out and support this Black Queen, Miss Jennifer Black, and this journey. She has a devotional as well called Here to Hope. It's a 30-day devotional to bring healing to grieving hearts. She is in this industry. She knows what she's talking about. So go support her in all that she does. Again, you can go to www.first1, the number 1 ST24, the number 24 loss.com. Again, that is www.first24loss.com. She wants to be there for you in the first 24 hours. If not in New Jersey, where she resides, then she wants to get you to have this book so she can be there with you in book form. We thank you again, Miss Jennifer Black. It has been my pleasure.
Yes,
do have a pleasant evening. I have enjoyed our conversation. Absolutely. And good night to all. Thank you again for coming.
Have a good night, everybody.